Welcome to the Beyond the Falls podcast, and I'm talking right now. I'm starting this, but actually the real host is right across from me, and it's Sarah Jenkins, and she's going to be hosting this, but it's episode 1, and we're going to do something a little different today in that I'm going to interview you, but the rest of the show is going to be you interviewing people in the real estate industry, really anything that has to do with real estate, whether it's lending or titling or just questions about selling houses or buying houses. But then we're also going to talk, it's called Beyond the Falls, about this community of River Falls. Sarah?
Yeah.
How excited are you about this?
I am so excited. I think it's gonna be fun to learn the stories of the people of the community and connect with other business owners, and then to teach you guys about other aspects of buying and selling real estate. So yeah, looking forward to it.
And we're doing this, I think, it's something that, you and I have a person that we deal with a lot, and it's Kevin Westhouse. Yes. And Kevin's like, we need a show about River Falls. And I was thinking about it, and you're like, I want to do a podcast. I'm like, let's do a show about River Falls in a podcast. So that's kind of the brainchild behind all of this. And we'll be talking a lot of things River Falls. In the next few episodes, we're going to have some people from the community on, and then we'll just continue this. And I think the plan is to release these once a week, and we'll put them on YouTube, and it'll be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all the places that you'll get your podcasts. I know a lot of people are like, all you need to do is put it on YouTube, but I love a podcast on Apple Podcasts or something like that. So when I'm driving, I just pop it up and listen.
Yeah.
So it should be a lot of fun. I guess the other thing that we want to get into today is NAR ruling. And the reason we're going to talk about this, I think, is because I think you're getting a lot of questions from potential clients. And I know that was something that when this first happened, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago, like it was making major waves on social media, and people were, it was almost like the apocalypse was coming. But can you tell people a little bit about what it is?
Yeah, so the settlement itself, it started in 2019 in Missouri, and has kind of grown from there. Mm-hmm. It's a big settlement, $418 million. But there's going to be some changes as a result of the whole settlement, which is still a preliminary settlement, nothing set in stone. But they are saying there's going to be some changes come as early as July. Some of those changes are going to be for us agents. I'm sure our forms are going to change or there's going to be adjustments or added forms as we kind of move forward from here on, but nothing's come up yet. But we're going to see, the biggest thing about the settlement is transparency. The buyer broker commission maybe not being transparent enough, and then a lot of it has to do with commissions. And what I can tell you about it is in the state of Wisconsin, our forms are statewide forms. If I'm writing an offer here in River Falls, I'm using the same form to write an offer in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. But our forms have consumer protections built in. They have since I've been a realtor. And that breakdown of kind of what the buyer's agent is going to receive as a commission, it's on the very first page of our listing contract. So it's decided between the seller and the listing agent. And and it's always been negotiable. It's not, there's no set in stone anything. It's always been negotiable, but when you sign the contract, it's right in there. It's not hidden from the client. They know exactly what it is. And as an agent, I explain that to you, how that commission's broken down and your costs going into selling a home.
So this is stuff that really, as far as you're concerned, you've been doing this all along, and you had told me before we started recording that Wisconsin has a lot of these protections already kind of into how things get done here, but there were a lot of states that just didn't have this type of stuff.
Yes, that is I am learning that. It was a surprise to me. Like, I'm licensed in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Both states have this built into contracts, but I'm finding a lot of states it was not clear. I do think that's what was a big part of the initiation of this, is it's not transparent in contracts.
So, when you go to, let's say someone calls you up and says, Sarah, I want you to sell my house. What does that process look like?
It's a great question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah. I do my research before, we schedule a time to meet. And when I come out to your house, I want a tour of the home. I've already done a lot of research. I'm probably going to have a lot of questions for you on the phone up front. But I'll do my research. I'm going to come with, I want a tour of your home. I want to know what improvements you've made, if any. I want you to tell me all about your property while we're there. And then I come with comparables and we can talk about those, and that helps me to determine a list price. And we also go through all the forms that you would see to list your home.
How many forms is that?
I got to think about that one. There's probably a handful of forms, and then there's a seller disclosure, a condition report about your property that you have to fill out. I can't really help you out with that one, but the rest of them, that's what I'm there for. I help fill them out as we move along and get your home ready to sell.
So this NAR, we're thinking this is going to kind of go into effect in July?
Yes, they're saying as early as July. There's going to be, so the biggest thing as a consumer that you're going to find, you're now going to have what we call a buyer agency agreement signed and in place before you go into the property. So it's going to get a little trickier to just find a property online and go, hey Sarah, I want to see this in an hour and a half. I can't take you through it by law now until we have a buyer agency agreement signed. And there's different ways to go about that. We can sign it so it's just for that property, but you'll still be able to go to an open house as far as we know, and look at that. Or your option would be to call the listing agent, and there's still a lot with the settlement that's up in the air, and we won't know. We're all navigating through it together, and there'll be a learning curve.
Yeah, that was my next question, is like, how does that work with an open house?
Right now, I mean, anyone can come. And, I market an open house. Anyone can come. Anyone can drive by, see the sign, see it online, and come and take a peek. I do believe right now that is going to remain the same. That probably won't change. It offers some flexibility for buyers to get into a home and take a look at it if maybe their agent's not available. And so I do think I think it's gonna probably remain the same.
How about the MLS, and how do you think this is gonna work with that?
Yes. The other big change, probably more so for agents, you cannot market the buyer broker compensation on the MLS starting July. So that's one of the big changes that's going to happen. In order for us to know what that is, we're going to just have to make a phone call to the listing agent and find out how that's broken down. That's going to be the biggest thing for agents.
Okay. Anything else that I didn't ask you about this that you think is important to get out there to people?
Just that it's not nothing set in stone yet, but I do think you can anticipate some of those changes. Some lending changes have already been made, and there's going to be probably some adjustments on the lending side too that are going to be made. So we're all going to learn as we move forward. I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to be a huge change. I do think you're going to see some difficulty if you're not offering compensation to a buyer's agent. A lot of time first home-time buyers don't have those extra funds to come with closing costs, a down payment, and to pay their agent. cash to pay their agent up front. So we're going to run into some trickier situations, I think. But that's why you get connected with an agent, and they can help you navigate through those.
It'll just be something to work through.
Absolutely, just
And-
like anything else.
Right, and it's probably one of those things that, there's probably gonna be some pain at the beginning, and then as this kind of becomes the norm, then it becomes the norm, and it's something that people will navigate through.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the podcast real quick
Yes.
here. We're excited about this and bringing people on, and you're gonna be asking them a lot about themselves. So let's ask you about yourself, and just for people who don't know who you are, tell me who you are.
I've been a realtor this is my 7th year. I sell homes with Property Executives Realty. I also have my broker's license, and that is so I can have Jenkins Property Management. So we manage properties. My husband is a builder, builds a couple of homes a year. So it all kind of encompasses each other. We're kind of here to help you on whatever angle you want.
Well, you talk about that. Let's just dig into the family a little bit. How long have you lived here in River Falls, and where are you from? And tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I grew up in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. I went to the University of Minnesota, where I met my husband, Dan. Fun fact, we were cheerleaders together for the Gophers. So that's how we met. Dan was born and raised here, and we got married and decided River Falls is where we wanted to raise our family. And I've got a son who just turned 16 yesterday, and a daughter who's in 7th grade. And been in River Falls for 17 years now. So.
Yeah. You said this is where you wanted to raise your family. What's special about River Falls? Why did you choose? Obviously, it's Dan's hometown, but you had a hometown too. There's a lot of places between here and Eden Prairie.
Yes.
What's special about this made you guys want to raise your family here?
It's like a big, small town, so you get this unique community feel that you don't always necessarily get in one of those bigger suburbs. So that was a big thing here, and I just feel like our community supports each other, and I love it here.
Is there anything else you want to get out to people before we hang it up for today?
No, I'm just looking forward to the podcast, and
Yeah, should be a lot of fun, and we got some great guests. We're going to do a little more recording here today, and again, we'll bring this to you once a week, and if you know anybody who would make a great guest, let us know, because we're always looking for ideas as well. But great first episode, and we'll be happy to bring you more. I'm Chris Larson. Sarah Jenkins will be leading the show the rest of the way, but just wanted to come on and just have a little discussion about what we're up to. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you next time.